Harsini, welcome to this session and welcome Instagram family to this exciting session from Shiksha Study Abroad. So my name is Vaibhav and I'm your host for today's session. And today we have Harsini Suvaytha with us. So she's a student studying at Neoma Business School, France, and she's pursuing international project development as a
Yes.
full-time MSc course. So she'll be sharing her insights and experience as to like how her journey has been till now in France and how her experience has been specifically at Neoma Business School. So welcome again, Harsini. Would request
Thank you.
you to like introduce yourself to our audience. Uh, that would be very beneficial
Sure.
and they would get to know you a bit better. So over to you, Harsini.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, as you were giving the introduction, I'm Harsini Suvaytha. I'm from India. To be specifically, I'm from Chennai. And so I'm an architect by profession, and I have over 4 years of experience in the same field, like with multiple associations. But yes, I have over 4 years of experience. And currently, I'm pursuing full-time MSc International Project Development in Neoma Business School. I'm here in Rouen campus, and yeah, so that's about the quick about where I'm from and what I'm currently doing.
Okay, that's cool. So thanks for your intro, Archini. So a lot of students would be curious as to why did you select France as a study destination as compared to its counterparts like UK and Ireland, which are a bit more popular as compared to France in Europe, right? So what was the specific reason of selecting
Yes.
France as a study destination? Plus, why did you opt for Neoma BS as one option to study at?
Okay, so yes, of course, while beginning my, idea or journey of doing my master's abroad, there were a lot of countries on my list. There were, like of course, UK was on the priority, and for me, there was there were other countries like Italy and then France. So there was a lot of process that was going behind it, like personally, and also I took my consultancy with Shiksha. So there was a lot of discussions and filtrations happening. So the reasons why I chose this, I came to a conclusion later. I wanted a project management or a business type of course. So that was one reason. And also, of course, we all have our financial planning, like the range from what you'll be able to afford and what you can do. So that was a major part of it, because you cannot deny on that when you're doing a master's abroad. That is one of your consideration, what you can do, what you can afford, and what the universities can give you for that particular range. So that was also one of my criterias on choosing the college. And then the course structure was very important for me. I was very specific about what was the course offering me while I was choosing my course. So I made sure I went inside every course. I understood what their courses and subjects were, and that's how I landed here. And also, of course, this was the professional side. But again, the reason for choosing France was having a soft corner to understand how the culture of France here is, because I'm always fond of the architecture of France, the kind of buildings and all of that. So that was one part of me which was always wanting to come here, try understand the culture. So these were a mix of reasons that I shortlisted and then finalized with Neoma Business School and France. Yeah, that was how the entire process was.
Okay, that's quite cool, Harshini. And like since you mentioned Shiksha, how was your experience with Shiksha and its study abroad team? Like when your counseling process was going on?
Okay. Okay, to be very honest, there are a lot of competitors in the market, so which we are very well aware of. And I did have a very bad experience with one of the competitors. So, like it was a 2 years journey for me to understand this entire master's process and then apply. So first, I had a very bad
Mhm.
experience with one of the competitors, and I was very down. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? Because maybe if my understanding is wrong, or is the consultation happening in a very wrong method, because it was very haywire, there was no process. And then there was all of a sudden I got a call from Mr. Sagar. He's from Shiksha. He
Mhm.
was there with me throughout the process. uh, it was a very random weekday where he called me. He said this is how it is, and he gave me a list of things, but it was too much for me to take it up on the first call. Then I took some time, I processed. Then I told him, see, this is too much for me. I told him clearly, I had a very, you know, weird experience before, so I need more clarity. So he was very patient throughout. He told me, this is what is honestly happening right now. Maybe you should try this, try that. And literally he was like a friend to me, telling me I think suddenly you go discuss with your other friends, you get confused, you tell what if I want to do this, what if I want to do that. But he was very patient with me throughout, Mr. Sagar. And then he told me, okay, do this, do that, maybe. And he was giving me other options too. He didn't just push me telling you should do this, you should do this. Any doubts I came up with, he made sure telling me, okay, let me try for you that, let me try for you this. And then that's how the process was going for me in the beginning. And then once I finalized my university, and I told, okay, let's do this, let's finalize this. And then he was guiding me through every step, like how does the application process go, how do I write my statement of purpose, my other validations, my visa process, how hectic and all those government process are. So he told me, just do this, do that, don't worry, go at this time and all of that. And also, even with booking my tickets, flight tickets, and till I reached my room, I told him, thank you, Sagar, I reached my room, I'm here. He was like, okay, have a good journey, all the very best. So that's how the entire process was. He made sure I reached my room safe here. So yes, it was a very wonderful journey with for me.
You had a lot of bad experiences initially with some other sort of consultant as well. So your journey has been a mixed bag of
Yeah.
emotions, I believe. So that's quite cool. And
Mhm.
like coming back to the students who have joined us, I would request you to put in the questions in case if you want to speak directly to Harshini, or in case if you have some questions, feel free to put it in the comment box or the Q&A box. We'll be taking up your questions as well individually in between the session. Coming back to the session, so Harshini, like how is Neoma Business School, and like how is the faculty there, and how has your experience been at Neoma BS? If you can share some insights to that.
Okay, so here Neoma has three campus, Rouen, Reims, and Paris campus, and I'm here on Rouen campus. Uh, Neoma has a lot of master courses like specializations. They have varied specializations for different group of people that are looking at, because there is not just one particular sector of people who are trying to do their masters. We have different people from different field and backgrounds who are trying to be here. And also the age group of people are various. We have a lot of freshers, we have a lot of experienced ones. So it is a mixture of a crowd that is here in the university, and also from different countries and different cultural background for sure. So the kind of faculties here at Neoma are very well versed, because they're all professionals who are in the field for a lot of years. And the kind of content they deliver speaks for it. And also this particular semester I have very good kind of professionals and faculties who have a very systematic approach. They tell us do this, do that, and they tell us this is going to be the planner, and this is the reason that you understand this course. So there is a good understanding of why I'm doing it. And even when you suddenly feel very lost, because it is bound to happen, you are in a different country, you feel like you're alone, you don't know what is happening around you. There's a lot of support systems and groups here, like especially in the university. You feel very safe. Like maybe you come out and there are a lot of threats and you're very scared, but inside the university you feel very, very safe and protected, because you will find guidance. There is at least here in Neoma, it is called Neoma Hub, where you go and ask them for any kind of issue, even the pettiest of problem. They try to come up with a solution. Sometimes at the moment, sometimes it might take few days and hours for that particular problem to be dealt with. But the hub is always there for us, for international students, to not panic, because suddenly the systems here or the culture might give us a huge barrier. So for that, inside the university we have all kind of support system. And also there are a lot of student clubs where you could go and interact. There are friends of our age group who would be happy to help us, telling do this, do that, and organizing a lot of fun events so that we don't feel very low and all of that during the hectic process and schedule. So there are a lot of events and multicultural happenings during the year all the time. There is, you'll find something or the other happening on the campus all the time. It's never idle at all.
So you have, apart from academics and everything, you have extracurriculars and you have like college societies, everything going on together. So that's a cool experience. And like, how is the international student community, and like how many Indian students you have at Neoma? Like if you can give us some ratio of how many number of students you have from different countries, and so that a student can get to know the mix of students, international students studying at Neoma.
So to begin with, Indians, we have good number of Indians here, so we wouldn't feel like we are away from home, because you come here, you make friends from every part of India. We have people here, and so that is for sure, yes. Like here with me, I have friends from every part of India, from Pune, from Chennai, from different parts of Tamil Nadu and Kerala, Andhra, whatnot. From every particular state, I have people here. So that itself is going to be a good opportunity for us to understand different people from different parts of India. That's for one thing. And with respect to from people from other countries, of course, we have our French locals from France, from different parts of France, who will be studying along with us. And then I have friends from Lebanon and from Morocco and Portugal. So again, here there is a good mix of Moroccan people, Lebanon people. It's wonderful to understand their culture, their kind of food type, and having lunch and dinners with them gives a lot of insight, about other countries. And I think it is. I have friends from China and a lot of other countries. I couldn't suddenly recall, but yes, of course, you're gonna find people from Vietnam. I have friends from Vietnam, and yeah, a good mix of people from different countries here. And it's wonderful to see how we all come together to like when there is a particular competition or any group events or projects, people from different culture come together to do something together. It's a wonderful experience, because our learnings from what we have brought from our own country and from our own learnings put together it's a very good experience, right? So that's how the mix here is.
So, like, it's quite an overwhelming experience, and you get to learn a lot of things, obviously, from different cultures and different sort of people coming all together. So that's quite cool. And like, how is the education system back there? So, since you have done your bachelor's in India and you just started pursuing your master's back in France, so how different is it? And what were the things that were initially very difficult for you to adjust to when you started your journey?
Um, Of course, the entire process, like in India, everything is very, we're very well given. Like we always have, our faculties there to guide us every inch of it. But here it is more about self-learning. So that might sound very difficult in the beginning, but I think that's another experience that I think we all have to take over the period of time, because during the bachelor's, the kind of age and the kind of experience we have is going to be very different from what we have right now. So maybe during that particular time of age, it was the kind of inputs that are given to us is very in a different format. But here for a master level, there is more about self-learning. You will have to take up the tasks. You cannot wait for someone to tell you do this, do that. It's more about you will have all kind of guidance. It's not about the guidance, it's about how you do it, because that is what is expected from us by the faculty, so that accordingly they change the way of learning. So there is more about self learning, and it's self responsibility. You cannot wait for others to come and push you, because when you're here alone, there are a lot of things we will have to do it by ourselves. Even the simplest things, we cannot wait, because back there in India, of course, we had a family and friends and neighbors, being always there for us. We would
Mm-hmm.
never feel alone. Even, the smallest thing you turn, there will be someone to tell you. But here, there will be instances where we will have to handle things by ourselves. And I think it is very important for each and every one of us to learn it. So that's how the learning here is as well. You will have a lot of assignment based or project based learnings, where even small tasks would be in form of projects and assignments. And a lot of, again, here in Neoma, we have a lot of webinar sessions from different group of people, different associations. So that is also one, mode of learning that is currently happening here. Because, of course, we all know how COVID took a huge turn in all our lives. So I think the Neoma has also considered that, and is providing us with a lot of webinars, and yeah, like, to cope up with the new trends, we have those kind of sessions as well. So it's again a mix of everything, but ultimately it's more about yourself learning.
And since Harsini, like France's majority of the population would be French speaking there, so what level of fluency is required? And like, did you also do some sort of language test before applying to Neoma? And like, how can a student manage things related to that? If you can suggest a student
Okay.
as to how to go about French as a language.
So it is very much advisable to have. So of course, as we all know, there are different levels like A1, A2, B1, B2. I would say A2 is minimum required for a person to come and survive in a decent level. Because like when I say survive, inside the university, you're not going to face very difficulty in with the language, because the course is taught in English for us. And of course, we have a lot of people who know English to communicate. It's going to be easier that way. But outside the university, language is going to be a major barrier. We cannot expect the locals here to talk English all the time. You're lucky if someone volunteers themselves to talk in the language. So even
Mhm.
before I came, I had a A1 level of French. I took some classes, but I didn't have enough time to do my A2 as well. So I came here, and then I am continuing my A2 classes currently now. Uh, so for us, for a daily living, at A2 level is minimum required. I would say it's better. More than required, it's better to have one, so that you don't find difficult to understand basic, greetings, or even to ask water or a coffee in a cafe. I think the basic level of French is very much important. And so language barrier is going to be anywhere we move abroad. Like apart, you come out of India, you're going to face the language barrier in any format. And here in France, it is a bit more. So it is highly advisable to have minimum of A1, A2 level to understand basic things here. And in terms of job perspective, here it is the companies or the professionals expect us to have B2 level to enter into a French company. So that, again, here
Mhm.
in university we have a lot of French coaching classes and French as a subject itself. So it's the choice of the student to take up that. But it's a part of coming to France here. Language is very important.
And does it affect the part-time opportunities available as well for the students who are pursuing their masters? So, like, what sort of fluency is required for part-timers there?
Again, for part-time, it depends upon the kind of part-time job we have. If it does not involve much of
Mhm.
talking, and then I think even a lot of, like, I have had my friends tell me, like, even without knowing the language, there were few people with just English able to manage, because there was not of talking involved. They were not facing the customers or,
Okay.
the local citizens here. So for that job, shouldn't be a problem. And there were few people who were specific about the kind of part-time they want. So for them, yes, again, A to B1, irrespective of the level, it's about how well they can communicate. So like I have a lot of people with A2 who can talk very well here. So Same, I think it is required. It's also kind of part-time, and there is a few amount of Indian restaurants also here in Rouen itself. So if you want to find jobs there, I had one of my friend who just knew English and kind of took up a part-time job in one of the Indian restaurant. So even that is okay. So it
Mhm.
depends upon the requirement and what you also want.
Okay, cool. And what's the pay scale of like the part-time job opportunities available there? Say like how many hours a student can work in a week, and what's the pay scale that the basically the part-timers can earn there?
Okay. Again, this all depends upon the kind of job that we take up because as per our visa permits, we have certain number of hours. I believe it's 20 hours per week that we are eligible to work. And but I
Mm.
don't know how far as a student you will really have a time because for me it's a very short period of course. Like it's just a 15 months program where I will be starting my internship already by April. So the course is going to be very tightly packed. But yes, there are people who have been doing, in spite of a very tightly packed course. There are my friends who have taken up part-time course, sorry, part-time job, and I think he was able to earn around 7 to 11 euros per hour. Like if I cannot be very specific because there were different ranges, but this is the range you can
Yeah.
expect. Yes,
Mhm.
it also depends upon the employer and their capacity. So, but there are opportunities. Of course, you can come down here. We have a lot of French citizens who take a part-time job, and from people from other countries who take part-time job. So it is available.
Mhm.
It also depends on the individual on what kind of job they want to do, the timings, and the employer. If this all works out well, then it's good.
So that was quite an insight towards part times and everything. So thanks a lot, Harshini. Apart from that, one of the major things that a student has to keep in or like in his mind before moving into a new study destination is like accommodation, right? So how is the accommodation situation back in France?
Okay, so we have something called cruise accommodation, where it's preferably for all the students, international students who come here for their study purpose. Like for me, when I was
Mhm.
applying, the Neoma itself suggested me the different options I can choose from the cruise restaurants, cruise accommodations. And I was able to choose the kind of room I want from the options that was given to me. There will be different area square meter of rooms that is there. You can choose based on your needs and also based on the availability of that particular time. So it's more about first come first serve
Mhm.
basis. So you come earlier and then accordingly you take up the kind of room that is available at that particular time. And I'm staying in a cruise called Ango, which is very near to my university, hardly a kilometer. I just walk to the university. And here nearby, we have a lot of other cruise accommodations where there are students from other universities also who stay here. And if the student is very particular that they want to have a room in the city, because this particular cruise accommodation is a little away from the city. I wouldn't say very far, like you have the public transportation to easily go and find things for yourself. But it depends again, if because I
Mhm.
preferred being near the university because that was my priority. If the students wants to be especially in the city where they want to experience and the other part of the culture, yes, we have platforms like Studapart. Even the Newma itself would suggest you to access Studapart platform, where you can again find lot of other options in the city. The rents will vary, of course. It's going to be a bit higher than what is offered by the cruise, because cruise is specially for the students, international students, and they do not charge you much, and the facilities they provide are very decent. So of course, if you want to have a bit more than what is given by cruise, a bit more luxurious, I would say, you can of course choose the ones that is there via Studapart or other platforms. We have good options among that, and the important part is going to be getting a contract done. So irrespective of any accommodation we choose, it is important to sign the contract. Like even before we come from India, we will be signing a contract with the owner, and it is part of the process. Like I'm sure Shiksha is going to guide every individual with that. It's part of the visa process to have the accommodation prior and signing the contract for the period of time that we stay. So that's how it is.
Okay, that's great. And like, what's the average cost a student has to bear? Like, if you can give us insight into the things, university provided accommodation as well, in case if a student is looking for some sort of private accommodation. So what is the range in that case, if you have details regarding that?
Okay, as per our visa process, we are expected to have 700 euros per month, which I think
Mm-hmm.
is much required here. So again, it depends from every individual, their way of living. Uh, for visa process, it's mandate for us to have 700 euros per month, which we cannot, come down from. So that is part of us having the money. And coming here and spending varies. I would say minimum 500 to 700 because the rents here in cruise are between 250 to 300 euros. So which you're going to pay prior, but let's say that's part of your monthly expense. And then for the food and other travel and your, like let's say travel within the city, and then if you want to travel outside and maybe eating your food once or twice in the restaurants, and then maybe if you're interested in going on parties. So all of these vary. So from 500 to 700 euros monthly you're going to be spending. It depends from every month and every individual and their way of living. But
Yeah,
for
the
getting the
kind of lifestyle
groceries
that
and stuff.
student. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
you're
cool.
right.
And like, how do you manage your cost of living? So you are the one who prefers cooking at home or like going out. So like, if you can give students who have joined us a few of the tips that you follow to keep the cost of living in control, because that is one of the major
I
expenses
would
a
say
student has to.
cooking is better because like I cook and eat because I prefer that. It's convenient because all the time
Hmm.
we cannot expect the Indian recipes outside. Of course, you're abroad, and the kind of food that is available is also different. I try them all, but I prefer cooking, and it's also better that way to keep your cost in control because you cannot end up eating all the time outside. But of course, there are alternatives like maybe you're sick, you don't want to cook today, you don't feel like cooking. There are good alternatives. We have cafeterias in our university, which is quite affordable, and then we have cruise restaurants. So the cruise accommodations do have their restaurants nearby, so that is also very affordable. So we do have alternatives. Of course, in city we have a lot of restaurant options. We have Indian restaurant, we have Chinese, we have sushi is available. We have a lot of French cuisines. So all of that is available. So if you want to go on a weekend, eat something nice, and then feel good, yes, we have good restaurants. But to keep the cost in control, and if you are more of home cooked Indian flavored person, then it's better you cook because that's very efficient.
And apart from that, like, how are the placement opportunities there? So once a student completes his or her master's from France, how do they go about the placement? So what's the process for the placement there? So like in India, you know that there's a campus placement and a campus drive that goes on, and a lot of companies would come in and help you with the job opportunities that they have. So how do students go about in France? What's the process to get employed there?
Uh, okay. Okay. So here, similar to campus things that we have in India, we do have a lot of events and companies coming down to the university directly. Like I was saying, Neoma constantly makes sure there is a lot of events and updates that is given to us. From the day
Mhm.
one I came here, I have been told about how the internships are going to be working. Like I had a lot of webinars and seminars, professionals from different associations hosting and telling us. this is how it is going to be like if you want to find a job here in France, if you want to find a job abroad or internships abroad, what is the process, what are going to be the documentation process, and what the company expects. So there has been guidance given to us at every step. And we have a lot of platforms that Neoma is associated with, where students can easily access and find the company offers. Apart from LinkedIn, there are other platforms that is given to us by Neoma as well. So we have different platforms, events, and companies. There is something called you know hiring weeks itself, where different companies from different background come down, and they have like it's more like stalls where they have put up themselves and tell them what they're looking for. You can go and hand over your resumes. So it's nice to understand. You will have a good insight of what is happening. um, uh, like for me, when the last semester was my first semester, that even that time I was able to get a good understanding, because I went to this job fair and saw a huge number of companies with having their own boardings and telling this is what we're looking at. They're very specific about the kind of role they offer, and the kind of candidates they're looking at. So the job descriptions are very clear here, which could be difficult for Indians, but good in a way to understand, because we might not have had the hirings happening this way in back there in India. Because I have some amount of job experience, I am able to understand the difference about how it happens back there in India and how it is here. The process is going to be very tedious and difficult. I'm not going to be saying it's very easy. It's not going to be a cakewalk. Though it's all the guidance that we have. It's also about the students, how they take effort, how they take up all these guidance, work on it, and then find one. So it is very important. You cannot, these are just platforms that is available for us to access. It is going to be very difficult to find one, because there are a lot of criterias, a lot of expectations. You will have to ensure you have all of those all of that potential to have one. And the hiring system has different levels and criteria here. So it is important. You're going to have enough support, but it is important for us to take up the support and do things on our own.
Okay, cool. So the way that you've described is that it's quite like difficult to get into the process, but it's transparent as compared to the system that we have back in India, and it's much more clearer. The
Yes.
job roles and responsibilities are much more clear as compared to things back
Yes.
in India. So that would obviously make
Yes.
any particular student who gets employed much more efficient in the manner that they would be working in. So that's
Yes.
great. And like, do you have any idea about what sort of packages are being offered? Like what's the starting package a student can get, like based on their masters
Um,
once they have completed their masters. So if you have a brief idea about that, you can give us a
that
range
is
as
going
well.
to be
Like
a bit
what's the starting?
okay. It might be difficult for me to answer, because right now, as per the university or my course expectations, we are expected to have 6 months of internship. So the pay
Hmm.
scale of internship, and of course after you graduate, is going to be very different. And this is going to vary for every particular field, because even back there in
Hmm.
India, as a student who's applying abroad, I always ask this question: what is the package? But after coming here, I understand it is not very easy to answer this question, because you have so much. Like, for someone with some amount of experience, you will have to choose if you want to go for an internship or a trainee position or find a job. So here the pay scale varies.
Hmm.
Also the kind of company that you want to go, if you want to get into a banking sector, or you want to get into a marketing or a project manager role, all of this is going to be very, very different. And I hear it from my French friends who tell me, for internship, 1,700 euros. Yeah, like we saw it in one of the job postings. You can expect 1,700 euros plus other facilities, like your traveling facilities, and some cafe access. So this was given in part of their job description itself. This was from one company for their internship, and there were other
Mhm.
companies which were offering almost around 2,500 euros per month. So again, the job role and the kind of candidate they were expecting was different. So it's
Mhm.
going to be very difficult to give value because anybody from India shouldn't be coming up with the same expectations. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't give a number because it might tend to confuse the ones who are actually taking word from it. So it is very different.
Mhm.
We have opportunities. I'm not denying there are no opportunities. There are
Mhm.
opportunities, but it is going to take some time and patience for one to get one. It's not going to be like in the
Mhm.
click of and like you're not going to companies are not going to wait for you. You will have to accept a lot of rejections to understand what has to be improved on one's own, like let's say the resume or the documents that we submit, and then there should be a lot of revisions that we do, and then again do get into the process. So it is going to be very tedious.
Okay, great. So that makes things a lot much more clearer for the students. Apart from that, like Harshini, since you have been the background that you have come from is architecture, right? So you have been into architecture and everything. Apart from architecture, what other sectors are at boom right now in France? So what are the placement opportunities across sectors like finance, pharma? Which one are the most popular ones? So like automobile is one sector which is quite popular in France, right? Apart from architecture, apart from that, any other sectors that a student can look at, like pharma and IT, like how would you rate these sectors right now at the current situation?
I would say banking, anything to do with finance and banking. I'm able to see they have good opportunities, in spite of all the crisis that we all know, the global crisis. Banking, finance is
Mm-hmm.
having a very good opportunities here. Fashion, of course. And then I would say jobs like business analyst or marketing is having its graph. You can expect a very good amount of it. And I hear from my fellow friends that in supply chain sector, I'm not having very good knowledge about it, but in supply chain sector, there are few roles which have very good offers. But again, it's a very vast sector, is what I've heard from my other friends, because there are a lot of people who focus on it. It's a very huge sector. There is a crisis happening in it, but at the same time, there are very good offers, is what people tell me. But I would say I would rank banking, any finance, accounts, all of those, and then fashion. All of these are a very, very good market. And real estate, yes, it does have.
Great. So the students who are looking forward to like moving to France and studying across different universities can opt from these particular courses, right? So that would be quite helpful to them. And another one like important factor that the student looks to is healthcare, especially after the scenario what happened with us like in COVID, right? So France was also one of the countries which had a maximum number of cases and a lot of deaths were reported from France, right? So, like, how are the healthcare facilities now, and like, how do international students go about their healthcare facilities? So, do they have some special
Okay.
benefits, or like, is it just like a
We have good benefits here. Like the moment you come down to France, there will be a lot of procedures where you will enroll yourself into. Like you will be getting your visa uh, permit. Like we will have to sign up and do a visa permit process, and then there is going to be something where you get your social security number. All of these terms, which I say, the university is going to help you every bit of it. But I'm just putting down the terms for understanding. So there will be three, four steps where you will validate yourself that you're here and you will get a number. So all of these are numbers. You're going. It's helpful. Like for us, like after you get a social security number, you're going to get a card vital, which is for the
Mhm.
medical expenses and all of that. So as a student, you can go to any pharma or a nearby emergency doctor, and then you can show the cart vital, and then you have discounts, and sometimes they don't even charge you. Like emergency doctors, they don't even. There was once they didn't even charge me, and the tablets were handed out for free. So the medicines were handed out for free. So yes, we have a lot of procedures for that. We do it as it's a mandate that you come, you do it, and then by which you're going to be benefited with all of those uh, medical aids and support. But if you're going to look for some specific doctor, like apart from any emergency or general aspects, any other specific, like like let's say finding a specific physician is going to be a bit more of a task because it's more of appointment basis here. So it's not the
Mm-hmm.
same way back there in India, but here it's more of appointment basis. You'll have to take up appointments and then find a physician for yourself. If it's going to be for very specific physicians, which depends, you can never predict it. But apart from that, for the general physicians and emergency support, yes, we have nearby doctors here, and you have supporting system from the government for that.
Okay, that's quite good. So, like everything is covered under the academic fees that a student has given to the university, or you have to bear certain other charges as well on the like physician visits or a normal checkup. Because like back in UK they have NHS, so there's a minimum sort of charge that they give, right? So do you have something back in France as well, similar to that?
No, I wouldn't say there is no you don't have to pay anything specifically. Like if the physician or the doctor is going to accept the cart vital, then it's free. But I think there are few doctors who do
Okay.
not accept. So it depends. Like you will have it on the portal telling they accept this particular
Hmm.
cart vital. So in that case, it's going to be they're not going to charge you for anything. So that's how it is.
Okay.
Again, like if in case of few emergency situations where I had like the situation again varies because one of my friend went to an emergency doctor where she had to pay some amount. And there was another
Oh.
friend who kind of paid the amount. They got the refund later on their cart with us. So there are different aspects. It also depends from situation to situation. But in general, you are given support system here, and then they don't charge you for when you have the cart with us.
Okay, that's great. And like one of the most important factors again is like PR. So how good are the PR opportunities and like what's the duration of post-study work visa that they give? Apart from that, like how do they go about the PR process? Like have you researched yourself about settling down in France and like if you can give certain tips regarding that as well to the students.
From my end, no, I have not taken much steps on researching what it takes for me to stay here to get my PR.
Mhm.
Honestly, I've not done a lot of research because all the things that I've told before is from my experience and from my research. But with this particular thing, I have different career plans, so that's why I haven't focused on that yet. But again, this is few pointers from what my other friends, just mentioned over a conversation, which is I think you will need 5 years of stay where you can get a French passport, is what one of my friends just randomly mentioned over a conversation. And then after your internship, of course, if your work company can sponsor you a CDI or CDD visa, then accordingly, it's basically the work contracts they sign up with the particular candidate for the process of visa and for the stay is what I mean, I'm very not sure about it, a bit vague because I have not done my research on it for my requirement. So from what my friends have told me, this is what I think is the criteria that they expect. So yeah, I
Uh,
think this is about it. Yeah.
Fair enough. And like taking this session to a bit on the fun side. So like living in Paris and like being the fashion capital of the world. So like have you explored like destinations across France and like have you tried applying for Schengen visa and like backpacking in Europe? So have you had plans like that, like traveling across Europe? Because obviously a lot of people back in India have that dream, especially the way in Indian movies it's how Europe is portrayed as a destination, right? So as a travel destination. So what have been your plans like of traveling, and have you explored the country or different parts of Europe as of now?
I have traveled within France. I have not traveled across the country. I have traveled within France. There are a lot of destinations within France itself, which is very unexplored. So I've tried to, take small steps, baby steps in covering it. But as you said, yes, you can make good use of the Schengen visa and travel across all the other countries in Europe, because I have my fellow friends who have traveled. There's one of my friend who has traveled a lot of countries. I don't know if I'm not sure, maybe 10, 12 countries in a very short period of time. So, every weekend he packs his bag and, just goes around, visits and travels. It's going to cost us some amount, but yes, if you are a very, travel freak person who doesn't give much importance to the kind of money that is involved, yes. So yes, you can backpack yourself. It is possible. The transportation and the facilities that we have is quite convenient. So it's going to be easier. Like you book yourselves and then go around, explore it. So it is like what we kind of see in movies. It is kind of possible here. It is not very, not an impossible kind of a task. You can go around, choose your destinations, travel, have a very, fun-filled experience. And for those who prefer just going around in and around the country, yes, we have a lot of opportunities here too. You know, but it again depends. You need to plan everything. Like there is a bit amount of cost that is involved here. So when you're here as a student, every individual needs to consider when they can travel, how they can travel. So a kind of good planning is better. Like during the Christmas, the tickets are usually very expensive. So, it's very important to plan that one and then make your travel.
All right. Cool, cool. So thanks a lot for sharing all the insights. So we have almost covered all the topics, Harsini. So I think we can conclude the session. So thanks again for giving us your valuable time and sharing your overall journey and experience with us. So your experience would help thousands of aspirants who are looking to study like abroad and specifically in France and Neoma. So thanks again for giving us your valuable time. And I'll request the students to follow us on Instagram for more such exciting sessions. And we'll most probably catch up with Harsini again in coming few months. And we'll come up with another session with her on a different topic. So thanks
Sure.
to everyone for joining us. Have a great day, Harsini.
Thank you